Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? How you guys doing this morning? This your boy, your host, Coach Dante, in the building. I got on next to me my guy always, Mo Better, always, and my guy Will. How you guys doing, fellas?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Will, ready to go.
Yeah, man. We got some good topics today. At the end of the show, y'all already know how we got to end. Mo's boxing segment. Y'all stay tuned. He got a great boxer that he's gonna discuss. Tell you guys how good the Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya done a hell of a job last time breaking down Parnell Whitaker. I love that guy. How many championships titles he won. Mo did an excellent job. So stay tuned. Mo's gonna tell y'all guys give y'all some background on Oscar De La Hoya. But first topic we're gonna do, Mo. I'm gonna start this off with you. Which the greatest team of all time? We got the 72 Miami Dolphins, 85 Bears, one of the greatest defenses of all time. The 07 Patriots, the 99 Rams, the greatest show on turf, the team that beat the Titans. The 89 49ers. You got the 78 Steelers, and you got the 92 Cowboys and others. But which team is the greatest team of all time that you have seen about these teams, or if you got another one in mind?
These are all great teams. And these are, the 85 Bears, that defense, the 46, we had never seen anything like that. And I think if you remember that team, you could make an argument that the defense scored as much as the offense. Like, one of the best things about the 46, the 85 Bears is they were always getting you to turn the ball over and taking it to the house. Like, they scored more than the offense. As great as Walter Payton is, and he's an all-time great running back, that was not a high-powered offense. That was not a high, and it didn't need to be, I guess. If they put up 10 points or 13 points, 9 times out of 10, they were good to go. That's a great team. The 72 Dolphins, they're going to always have that. They went undefeated, right? You can't beat undefeated.
Will,
if I'm going to choose, and I'm being biased, I'm going to go with the 89 Niners.
Gotcha.
Top 3 defense, top 3 offense. Jerry Rice, well over 1,000 yards receiving. John Taylor had his career year. He was over 1,000-yard receivers. Brent Jones gave you 700 from the tight end position. Roger Craig, we know what he can do. Over 1,000 yards rushing, over another 600 yards out of the backfield. The defense had playmakers at all 3 levels. I would say led by the captain himself, Ronnie Lott. It was a dominating team. And if you saw how they finished off the season with a dominating performance over the Denver Broncos. So to me, on both sides of the ball, star power, the whole 9, I'm going to go with the 89 Niners.
All right. Will, go ahead.
My 95-96 Bulls.
Oh, I didn't know we was doing
NFL.
That's good.
Oh, we're taking NFL? I thought we were talking about this overall.
No, we can get to that. That's a hell of a one.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one too. We'll get to that. But it's NFL. We'll get to that one.
Okay.
Cool.
If we looking at pros, I probably would have to go ahead and say I'm going with the I might not get to save my life, but dang.
Them Ravens was dominating too. Ray Lewis's Ravens, that defense.
Yeah, that defense was
pretty good. Yeah.
defense was good. This is tough for me. I can't say my Saints because we only got that one. It wasn't that dominant. Dang. I'll come back to y'all because I got a whole bunch of bundled teams in my mind. I thought we were doing greatest teams of all time.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. The greatest teams of all time that you've seen.
That's why I said my 95, 96 Bulls.
No, I'm talking this NFL though. It's
NFL.
Yeah, that's NFL though. It's NFL.
Probably got it.
Basketball part.
Probably got to go. Probably got to go with the Steelers and the Immaculate Reception.
Okay.
That's what I probably got to go with. That's what I probably got to go with. If you're gonna pin me down to one.
Gotcha. Like I say, you know what? I'm gonna take the Rams, man. I'm gonna take the
Greatest show on turf.
That's not a bad pick. Greatest show on
turf. And they had so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. Isaac Bruce, who's a Hall of Famer. Torrey Holt, who should be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Marshall Faulk. He was one of the running backs that had 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner just coming from bagging groceries from the store and winning the MVP trophy. That year, Trent Green had got hurt. Kurt Warner came in, and the team wasted no time. They also had London Fletcher on the defensive side of the ball, who was a solid linebacker. Cornelius Williams, who was the best corner on that team. The greatest show on turf. Definitely killed it. But other than that, we don't get to the basketball portion. Now, Will, go ahead. And like I say, you said the Bulls. You already gave your answer out. Greatest basketball team you have ever seen. Go ahead. Explain the Bulls.
95, 96 Bulls, 72-10. Played defense on both ends of the ball, offense and defense. Yeah, we had Mike, don't get me wrong, but the rest of that team also did this thing too with Pippen and Kukoc. Man, I just love that team. And people always want to disrespect them. But I think that if you put that team in a modern day age, I think they would adjust to the 3-point shooting and still give you that same across the court defense and still be effective on the offensive side of the ball too. To me, that's the team right there.
Go ahead, Mo.
That's a tough team. It's obviously the greatest team in terms of the accomplishment in one season. The 72 wins. A lot of people will bring up the Warriors, but I discount them because they didn't win the title. I mean, you can have the best record in the regular season. If you don't win it all, it doesn't carry much weight. So I agree the 72 Bulls are tough, but I'm going to go with the 86-87 LA Lakers.
Ooh.
That was the most balanced. It wasn't the most exciting. It wasn't the most athletic, but it was probably the most skilled and balanced Laker team of the Showtime era. They had 7 guys that averaged double figures. Magic was the leading scorer. Worthy was the second leading scorer. Then they had Byron Scott. Then Kareem.
Yep.
Then AC Green. Coop was there. Michael Thompson gave you 10 points a game. I mean, it was just a really deep and versatile team that I think it was a top 2 offense and a top 5 defense. So it was just a really balanced team.
I'm going to go with the 86. I'm going to go with the 86 Boston Celtics.
That's a good
one. One of the greatest
one too. Yeah.
Of all time. Somebody got to echo.
Is it me?
Let's see.
I think it's me. Is it me? I don't know why I got to echo suddenly.
Yo. I'm going to go with the 86.
Is it me?
Check.
I'm trying to check now. I think it's me.
Yeah, that was Will then. That was Will.
Okay.
I think that was Will because I just muted him. Yeah, Will, that's you. You got the echo.
Okay, do I still have it?
Yep, you still have it.
Hold on one second.
But other than that, yeah, 86 Boston Celtics were really good. That's a great defense of all time. Don't you know how tough it was for Michael Jordan to drop 63 on the all-time greatest defense? But other than that, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale was good, one of the greatest post scorers in the game. Robert Parrish on that team. Man, that team was really good, man. One of the greatest defenses of all time.
Maybe the greatest front line of all time, too.
We talking about Jordan's sucking before, he even emerged, him and Pippen. I'll say again, that those defenses of Larry Bird, Detroit Pistons who knock you out when you touch the paint, who knock you out as soon as you touch the paint. Again, one of the greatest defenses I ever seen in my entire life. You had the Detroit Pistons, like you said. You had the Lakers, who was really good. You had the Chicago Bulls on that 73-9 season, who had that physical matchup versus the Seattle Supersonics. Matter of fact, Seattle Supersonics coming into that postseason and coming into throughout that whole playoff to that finals. They was the second best defense in the league that time. They was the second best defense. Gary Payton didn't shut down Michael Jordan, but he made him work. And I thought George Karl made the adjustment too long. He took too long to make the adjustment. They were down 3. Next thing you know, they were down 3-0. They won 2 straight. He decided to put Gary Payton on them at the last second. He made the adjustment too late. He made the adjustment a little bit too late. But then again, that Seattle Supersonics was a very good team. They would have been, if it wasn't the Bulls, they probably would have beat anybody else. If it wasn't the Bulls, if Bulls wasn't on that 73-9 season, Seattle would have damn near came away. Don't you know how many weapons they had? Hersey
Hawkins,
Vin Baker,
Shrimp.
Yeah, go ahead. You can go all in on.
I mean, that was a nice squad.
Sean
Kipp at his peak.
Yep. So I got a question for both of y'all though. Mom, I'm gonna start this with you. What was the greatest team? And we're gonna go to the NFL portion. What was the greatest team in basketball that did not win a title, that did not win a championship that you saw?
Ooh, the greatest team that didn't win a title?
Yeah.
You could have made a case for that Sonics team that you just pointed out.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with one that maybe most people wouldn't ride with. I'm gonna say those Utah Jazz teams.
Okay.
I'm gonna say those Utah Jazz teams. Think about a lot of people. I've heard some analysts say they were farmers and Jeff Hornacek wasn't athletic. But if you actually knew basketball, no, they weren't athletic, but they were good enough to sweep the Lakers. They beat the Lakers in 5 one season, came back the next season and swept them. So if you're good enough to sweep a team that had Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Shaquille O'Neal, Anthony Peeler, Elgin Campbell, athleticism alone doesn't tell whether you're a good team or not. The Jazz were one of those teams, probably super basketball IQ from top to bottom, a great head coach, a point guard that was an extension of that head coach, and one of the 3 greatest power forwards in history of the game. It's not shocking they were that good. Like you said, had it not been for Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls, Karl Malone would be a 2-time NBA champion.
Yep. And if you took Michael Jordan up out of the league at that time, how many MVPs does Karl Malone get outside of that one MVP? He probably have more.
4 or 5?
Yes. To tell you, that's the epitome of having Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan didn't exist in those 90 eras, you had Karl Malone probably had about 4 MVPs. You got Patrick Ewing probably had about at least a couple of championships.
No less than 1.
Yeah, no less than 1 title. You can argue 2. But Keem Olajuwon stopped the first championship. Charles Barkley was stopped multiple times by Keem Olajuwon. He was stopped multiple times by Keem Olajuwon and once by Michael Jordan. Gary Payton did get a championship in his career. That was late with the Miami Heat, but he was actually stopped. But I felt bad. One person I felt bad for is Patrick Ewing because he had to deal with Michael Jordan in the East basically his whole career. Reggie Miller, another guy that don't got a title because of who? Michael Jordan. So if Michael Jordan didn't exist nowhere in the 90s, I mean, most of those guys will have a championship in the
to be fair to Patrick Ewing, guys,
yep,
he didn't have a Pippen.
Nope.
He didn't have a sidekick. He had some good guys around him. He had some dogs around him because Pat Riley came in and totally flipped the script and decided to play a certain way in a certain style. He adopted that from Chuck Daly, but they didn't have like a super talented team. They knew how to play one way and they could win that way. And that was by making it a grind, making every possession a physical war. But Patrick Ewing, had he had a second star, I think Patrick Ewing would have got at least one title. Like, he didn't get his second star until he was past his prime, when he got Sprewell and Allen Houston, and he was past his prime.
Yeah, he was already his legs were broken down. His legs were broken down. Legs were broken down as well. So like you can slice it how you want it, but LeBron James, I'm pretty much sure every great player, but not every great player got titles in his era. Curry got a title. Curry got 4 in his era. You have Durant. He has 2. He has 2 in his era. Giannis has once in his era. Michael Jordan in that era, Karl Malone, they didn't get nothing. They didn't get outside of that. You got Magic Johnson, got a title, but he beat him in 91. Got Magic Johnson. You got Isaiah Thomas. He got a championship, but that was early in Jordan's career when they got the championship. But you talking about the Karl Malones and all that stuff. He took away championships for all of those guys. Kim could have been my Rockets. Kim Olajuwon if he wouldn't have retired and came back later during that season. But go ahead, Will. Give me the greatest.
That Phoenix Suns team with Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson.
Okay, that's a hell of one.
That's a good pick.
If it wasn't, and we talked about it already, if it wasn't for the Bulls, they would have won. If it was anybody else,
yeah, they would have won. Yeah, they would have won too if it was anybody else.
They would have won. That was a stacked team, man.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And someone also said in the chat too, the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento was deadly. They were good.
Chris Webber, Sacramento Kings.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Burn put it in the chat. Yo, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, younger.
That's a good one. I also throw in that Portland team with Sheed and Pippen.
Yep. Damon Stoudemire over there. They were
loaded.
They were very loaded. They were very, very loaded. But I got a wild card one though. The Indiana Pacers, one of the top defenses in the league at that time. You know who they ran into though? LeBron James. They ran into LeBron James. They had so much turmoil in the locker room though. Had too much turmoil in the locker room. But you talking about emerging Paul George, David West, who was a leader in the lot, who's supposed to been a leader. But Danny Granger at that time was really, really solid, was really, really good. I thought Danny Granger was a really good.
I got some pushback on that, because the thing that made me mad with Danny Granger, it's like he didn't realize how talented he was. Very good player, but I don't think he ever realized what his full potential was. I don't know if it's because of Reggie was holding him back. I don't know, but I thought he should have been better than what he was, given that the talents that he had. But I don't know if it's psychologically or whatnot, but I just thought Granger should have been better in his career than what he was.
Yeah, I mean, but he still was good. He still was an all-star player.
Oh, yeah. But he could have been so much better because he was so talented.
He was. And David West came out on an article and said the reason why the team broke down the way it did was because of Danny Granger leadership, and Paul George respected his leadership. So, again, look at Cool said, no blasphemous today. Nah, ain't no blasphemous today, man. Ain't no blasphemous today. So, yeah, man, I had to bring that up, and that was good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one right there. But give me an NFL team. I'm going to start with you, Will. NFL team that did not win a title, that a greatest NFL team that did not win a championship.
And I hate to say it because I hate them, but they're really, particularly back in, well, oh man, I got it because they've been so talented and had so many good players throughout the years. I got to go with the Chargers.
Oh, that's a hell of one.
They've been close.
That's a hell of one.
They've been close, and come up short. But look at the talent that team had.
Yeah, I know what Chargers team you definitely talking about.
Oh my gosh, man!
Talking about the LT
should have won at least one with the talent they had.
Yep, the LT
LT
rookie year. Yeah,
Mhm.
I know it just definitely Chargers team you talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Bo.
I want to say the Falcons only because I mean they did make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up bad memories for Atlanta fans. I mean, you did make it to the Super Bowl, and
28-3.
you were leading in the Super Bowl, but just such an epic collapse. But that team, that was a talented team. Like they had guys on the outside. They had two really versatile running backs that complemented each other. At the time, Matt Ryan was at the peak of his powers. They had everything you needed to win a Super Bowl. Maybe except for the fact that their coaching staff didn't understand that when you got a lead like that, you can actually run the ball. You can actually run the clock out. You can run the ball. You can run. You can run the ball. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You can control the clock. The clock is your enemy if you're gonna throw the ball at the damn time. But that's okay. So for me as just an NFL fan, I feel for Falcons fans because it's gonna be a minute before you ever get back.
Yep, definitely. So I want to bring up a recent article about this again, showing some a special person leadership in this matter. So Mo, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. Fred Van Vliet, we already know him. Him and Jalen Green are already working out in LA, so he already building up his chemistry. But Fred Van Vliet and Pascal Siakam reportedly was deeply frustrated with the young guys, young players on the roster, their work ethic. Coach Nick Nurse losing the locker room. Fred Van Vliet came out in his own words, and him and Pascal Siakam was definitely frustrated with all the young players, Scotty Barnes, including the roster, and he didn't appreciate it all. What do you think? What comes in your mind when your two stars says that Nick Nurse lost the locker room and the young players' work ethic? We're not gonna speak on something. Same thing that Jimmy Butler basically called out on Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. Did not want. Well, fucking Mr. No Show, Mr. No Show, Mr. No Show. They didn't have a great work ethic. But what's the first? What's the first thing in your mind when you thought when I read you this article about it?
When you read me the article, the first thing I thought of is I'm not going to say it was Scotty Barnes, but Scotty Barnes is the guy that they brought in, that they drafted, who they hope was going to develop into a star. And if you watch Scotty Barnes from his first year to what he did last year, there was no growth. There was no growth. He was literally the same player he was the year before. So the first name that came to mind to me had to be Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, maybe he wasn't buying into what Nick Nurse was telling him, or maybe Scotty Barnes was just doing his own thing. But when you have veterans who help you win titles with Van Vliet, with Pascal Siakam saying that, it points to a lack of leadership on Nick Nurse's part. Now, I don't know what that means going forward since he just became the head coach of the Sixers, but I guess we'll see. But that had to be a reason. Look, we watched Toronto, and even though Kawhi Leonard left, if you look at their roster, that was a talented enough team that if nothing else, they should have been in the playoffs. I'm not saying win a title, but they should have been more competitive than what they were. So something was missing in the locker room, and I think that starts with Nick Nurse.
Got you. Will?
A young player who sometimes, you got to look at Nick Nurse to a certain degree, but you also got to look at the player too. The player's going to have to want to come in and do the right things in order to win. And for two vets to call you out like that, that's just that's a bad look, a really bad look. I kind of feel sorry for Fred, because I was sort of kind of hoping he would stay in Toronto. But I get it. He took the money in Houston, and that's going to be a good situation for him. But I blame Scotty Barnes for that, because at some point you have to grow up. You have to grow up. Rookie season, I'll give you, but after that point, you have to grow up, and you have to listen to the veteran leadership on that squad. If you can't do that, then you're never gonna grow as a player. He kind of reminds me a little bit of other players in the league who hasn't matured to that point. And I blame Nick Nurse. You can blame him somewhat, particularly this last season. But I blame all that on Scotty. You have to man up, grow up, take responsibility, and move into the next step.
Yo.
And look, Coach, remember before the season was over, Nick Nurse was already hinting this might be his last year. He was before he was fired. He was saying he was leaving. He was saying he was done. So things had gotten that bad to where he was already conceding he was ready to go.
Yeah,
he had one foot out the door, basically.
Yeah, but we talk about Scotty Barnes, Christian Coloco, all of those guys. Those were young players. And Chris Boucher, all the young players, they were frustrated. And plus, Nick Nurse lost the locker room, so that was a telling point. If you lose a locker room in any type of league, that's a result in a pink slip. Anytime you lose the locker room in any type of league. So yeah, I can ask that about Steve. I definitely can ask that about Steven Silas. But it was good to see it was good to see him, Fred VanVleet, yesterday work out with Jalen Green and go ahead and get some of that chemistry going. So we get to the real deal topics that we were talking about that was brought up. The Boston Celtics wants a first round pick for Grant Williams, sign and trade. Hawks, Mavericks, Knicks, Wizards are interested. Is he worth a first round pick, and which one of those teams? Which one of those teams that you think fit well with Grant for Grant Williams suitors? Mo, I'm gonna talk to you on that one first.
Because he's a 3-and-D guy and he provides toughness, I think he fits well with any one of those teams. My only problem is a first round pick. Let me rewind that. If you're a championship contender, I'm talking about if you're one of the 4, let's say 5 teams in the NBA that's a legit title contender, and you think Grant can put you over the top, Grant Williams can put you over the top, then yes, you could expend a first round pick. Plus, if you're that good, your first round pick's going to be like, 27, 28? You can afford to do that. But if you're a team that's not a playoff contender or at best a play-in tournament contender, I'm not giving up a first round pick for a role player. He's a good player, but he's a role player. There's a good chance with that first round pick, you draft somebody better than him. Like I'm not doing it. I think Boston has fleeced people for years, so I get why they're trying to do that again, but I'm not buying into that. Maybe Mark Cuban will do it because Mark Cuban is so desperate to get bodies in Dallas because nobody ever wants to come to Dallas. Cuban might do it. And I would be shocked if Washington does it because they seem to be in a full rebuild mode. You don't have a benefit giving away a first-round pick for a rotation player. You're not even a playoff contender. Why would you even waste that on somebody like a Grant Williams? I wouldn't do
that. Will?
The Hawks would do it because that's a bad front office. They'll do it.
They will do it. They will do something like that.
They'll do it in a heartbeat. The Mavs, from what Mo was saying, the Mavs would do it too because he's desperate. If I'm the Wizards, I'm not doing it because I actually like that's actually a nice, good young core since they signed Kuzma back. I don't think the Wizards will do it. I don't think the Knicks will do it either. Just because of the fact they want to keep that team chemistry going and keep at least stay at that playoff level. But I think the Hawks and the Mavs will do it because they're both bad. One is desperate and the other's got a bad front office.
Hey, that's a hell of one, Cool. My boy Cool McCain in the building. Denver should do it. Hey, I love that. Hell of a replacement for Bruce Brown. He ain't the player that Bruce Brown is.
Kind of shocked he left.
He's a defensive guy that can shoot. That would be a hell of a replacement right there.
Cool, that's spot on. But that's what I was talking about. We're talking about well, this is the defending champs. But yes, if you're a title contender, if you're somebody of that ilk on that level, yes, that is a great call. But I would like him for Denver. I would like him for Phoenix. When you're talking about title contenders, look, Philly would take him if they could get him. Like if I would take him for anybody that's a title contender. But Cool McCain, that is a great call. You lost Bruce Brown. You bring this guy in. He can't do everything Bruce Brown can do, but he will make you a better team.
Definitely. So I had to bring this up. Sorry, Key. I gotta rub this in. I gotta rub it in, Key. So the talks between the Sixers and James Harden James Harden is frustrated with Daryl Morey. But I think Daryl Morey trying to do whatever it takes to keep that relationship going. But the price continues to be high for James Harden. So otherwise, Daryl Morey is holding James Harden hostage right now. He's holding him hostage. But the price is high. Will, give me your thoughts on the price being high for James Harden.
I get it for everything that he's done in the league. I get that. He is a vet. I'll give him that. But judging by what he's done for you in the most important parts of the season, which is the playoffs, he's come up small. So I hate to say it. I know a whole bunch of Philly fans gonna hate me for saying this. I'll get rid of him. I'll get rid of him. Keep Embiid, get rid of him. I know he probably won't work for Dame, but I would definitely try to come off him, get some more depth, get a mentally tough vet that can come in there and really help that team. He's great in the regular season, and I will give him all that. He's a great performer during the regular season, but when it comes down to the playoffs and it comes down to winning championships, he's always come up short. And for that reason alone, I think he needs to go.
Yeah, he's been coming up small in Houston, but again, he was actually a far better player in Houston.
Oh yeah.
Than what he is at right now. But he has come up small at some point. Some of that was also bad luck. Chris Paul, if he didn't get hurt, you can argue he could have won some of that bad luck too. But he did, no doubt about it, he did come up short in Houston as well. He's been coming up short all his career. But it's good, that I had the better version to see the better version of it. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mo. What you think about it?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I think the practical move is you're not looking for star power. You're looking for added depth. You're looking for competent role players that you can put around Embiid and Terrence Maxey. So I still like them looking to make a deal with the Clippers. But if they can find another team that's got depth, like a Brooklyn or somebody like that, although he ain't going back to Brooklyn, you would need a third team. I would like that as well. It's funny because now, for the longest time, he and Daryl Morey, they've been boys. Like Daryl Morey, he always had James Harden back. But here you are now, and the situation has changed. The winds have changed, and now Daryl Morey is talking to James Harden like, I'll move you, but I'm going to move you to the benefit of the franchise because Daryl Morey is not trying to get fired. He's not going to send James Harden to his happy place. He's going to send him to a spot that benefits the Sixers franchise. And I still think the best deal, whether it gets done this week or a month from now, is the one that they can get doing a deal with the Clippers because of the Clippers' depth. They just got so many wings out there. And I like the addition of a Terrence Mann. You throw in Norman Powell, he's a starter. Norman Powell's a starter who can also give you 20 points a game. And it's still it seemed like he's been in the league forever. Norman Powell's only 28.
Gotcha.
So I say the Clippers has got to be the move.
Gotcha on that one. So we got a new rule. We got a new rule, which is the flopping rule, which will be determined by referees at the game, will be penalized by rewarding the opposite opponent team one free throw and possession of the ball.
Ron better watch out.
Will
watch out. Ron can't be flopping no more. Watch out.
Do you think it'll work though?
I think the only way this rule would really, really work, close games, and in close games when it comes down to the wire, I think it might come down. Then regular season, it is what it is, but I think it won't really have an impact unless your game is close or you're down to a really close playoff elimination game, a game 7. I think those two situations, it can really come into play. If it's a blowout, who cares? But if it's a close game, then yeah, it's gonna make a difference. But a blowout, nah.
Go ahead, Mo.
Coach, I love this rule, but I love it if the referees stick to it and go letter of the law. If they go letter of the law, like you just presented it, I love this rule. Here's the thing, though. How many refs are going to make that flop call in a 1-possession, 1-point game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. If they do it to the letter of the law, call it. Maybe that's how you deter flopping when it actually starts costing teams games.
Right.
But so I love this as long as it's done letter of the law, because you know how refs are. What's a foul in the first quarter is not a foul in the fourth quarter sometimes. And I'm not into that. I would rather you be consistent throughout the game. If you go letter of the law, then I love this new rule.
If it's a 20-point blowout, I don't see it making a difference. But again, if it's a close game, particularly with playoff implications, yeah, it's really gonna count. It's really gonna count.
Gotcha. So I want to touch on something. We got since you're a Bulls fan, you signed basically your roster back. You know, you got Io Zuma still. You got Io Zuma still out there free agency ball. You did sign Vuka. You did sign Vuka back 3 years, $60 million. You got Kobe White back. What you think about the move so far for the Chicago Bulls?
I don't like that deal with, and I get it. You know, it's hard to find a quality big man for any amount of money in the league nowadays. I just don't understand. You sign him, but you sign Andre Drummond back too. But you can make a case that Andre Drummond should come into the season getting more minutes than what he did last season. Kobe White, okay, I'm cool with that. I was just sort of kind of shocked by signing Drummond back. I was also kind of shocked by them not trading Zach LaVine. I thought he was going to be gone to get another big man up in there, maybe a point guard up in there. We need a point.
Yeah,
we didn't draft one. We need a point guard. So this team won't meet any of its potential or have a chance to compete until they get a legitimate point guard up in there. Shout out to Alex Caruso. I love you, but you play both sides of the ball with effort. But we need a real point guard up in there. They did do a $10 million exception for an injured player. So hopefully we get that so we can get a point guard up in there to take Lonzo's place. I think Lonzo's done.
Yep, it's possible. But do you think, what in your mind, what in your opinion, do you think they should have probably blew it up at this point, or do you think you're okay with them still trying to compete?
I would have blown it up.
Okay.
I would have blown it up. And plus, I've never been a Billy Donovan fan. Even when he was in college, I was never a Billy Donovan fan. So I just think you blow that thing up and start over. D Rose became available. He became available. Beloved by the Bulls, beloved by the city. Did that front office go get him? Nope. That tells you that front office is bad. Blow that thing up.
Mo, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see the point of running this back. You're not a title contender. You're mediocre at best.
You're not even a playoff team.
Right. Right. Your three best players are complementary stars. Not DeRozan, not LaVine. Neither one of them can be the best player to lead you to a title. They're not those dudes. They're the dudes that play beside the dude, if you feel me. Like
right.
Complementary stars. It's like in a football analogy, no number one receivers, they got all twos. Well, the Bulls have all twos. Vucevic is a 3, the other 2 guys are 2s. You're not going to go anywhere spinning your wheels with that kind of roster. And none of the 3 of your best players, they don't play defense. They don't compete on defense.
Yeah.
I love DeMar DeRozan, but he's 33 years old. You need to move on for that. Look, LaVine is either disgruntled or he's injured. But what he never is he's never consistent.
Right.
Never consistent.
That's my point.
To me, you have to blow this up and move off of this. Look, you can still get value for LaVine. LaVine's worth a first-round pick. You can move Vucevic. You can move DeRozan. You can get value for all 3 of them and start a full rebuild. If I'm the Bulls, why prolong it another year? Because what's going to happen is you're going to prolong it another year and you're going to devalue all 3 of them.
Not only you're going to do that, but to a smaller scale, the fans are just going to lose interest within that team because that team is going to be middle of the pack, middle of the road. Sales are going to start to suffer in terms of tickets. And they need to do something to put some hope within this franchise. getting Derrick Rose back would have at least given the fans their hometown hero back. And for whatever God knows reason they didn't do it, I don't know. But blow this thing up.
Yeah. So we go to Mo dropped a certain topic in the group chat yesterday. Jason Tatum is recruiting Damian Lillard. What you think, Mo?
When I first heard that, I thought, is this one of those things where they're still not sure that Jaylen Brown wants to be a Celtic? Because Jaylen Brown is getting ready to get that super max, that $300 million. In my opinion, I'm still of the opinion I would keep Tatum and Brown together. I don't think you have to get rid of them. I think what you need is a better ball handler to facilitate the offense. More importantly, facilitate the offense in late game situations. Put those two guys in spots. Set them up for success. Instead of Jaylen Brown trying to beat people off the dribble, put him in a catch and shoot situation, or put him in a situation where he can catch the ball, either raise up or try to drive by you, but make it easier for them to score. I think bringing in Porzingis automatically opens up the floor because he's a 5 that will take any big away from the basket because of his shooting ability. That's going to help, but I still think you need a better point guard, a better facilitator in late game situations. When I heard about him recruiting Damian Lillard, first thing I said is, so they're moving Brown for Damian Lillard. Much like the Sixers, much like the Heat, if you told me you're going to get the best version of Dame, even if it's just for one season, I can't say that the Celtics won't end up in the finals. But they've already been in the finals with Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown is almost a full 8 years younger than Damian Lillard. I'm not trading Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard. If I'm the Celtics, I don't know what Tatum's trying to do. I'm keeping those two wings together, and I'm adding a floor leader to that roster.
Will?
That's why I said before Chris Paul got picked up by Golden State, that's why I said the Celtics would be the best place for him to go.
I thought it was too.
Because it gives them a legitimate point guard to distribute the ball and take that offensive pressure off Tatum and Brown. But I agree with you, Mo, because I'm not sure if Dame and Tatum and Porzingis is enough. Let's not forget, Dame has had some playoff letdowns too. So, I'm not sure if that would be enough. I would keep those two wings together with Porzingis, with the consistency, another year under his belt for the head coach to actually go out there and have a training camp with these boys. I keep that team together. I don't go out and get game. I keep everybody together and run it back one more time.
Got you on that one. So we got Mo brought up another topic yesterday. Mo on fire on these, boy. Mo on fire. So 2000s, man. I know y'all remember these centers, man. So in y'all eyes, start, bench, or cut. Jermaine O'Neal, Chris Webber, Zach Randolph. Mo, who you take? Who you cut? Who start? Who you benching? Who you cutting?
First of all, I love all three guys.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that Zebo, that grindhouse, he was the leader of that. Love Zebo, love his style of play, but I'm taking C. Webb. I'm starting C. Webb. C. Webb is the best player of the group. Jermaine O'Neal was incredible at his.
He was good. He was good when he down.
Yeah, he was at his peak. He was incredible. But C. Webb could do everything on the floor. C. Webb had a post game. He could shoot with range. Terrific passer. We already talked about it. That Sacramento team, they should have won an NBA championship, at least one.
Yep.
They should have won at least one.
They should have.
So I'm starting C. Webb. I'm benching Jermaine O'Neal, and I got to cut Zebo.
Gotcha. Will, who you got?
I got to start Chris Webber. He was the truth. He could do everything in the offense. Fast break. He get open on the break. He could shoot. He could shoot the mid range. Was solid on the defensive end. Then I got to go with my boy Zach Randolph. He was a beast. He was just a beast with that low post game. And Jermaine O'Neal, he was good in his prime, but he's the one I'm cutting.
Hey, yep, Jermaine O'Neal, 20 and 10 score, an all-star in Indiana. All of these are solid, man. All of these are great. And Mo, brung them up, man. Hey, good job, Mo. Good, ready to put him out there. Oh, Deal in the building. Deal in the building. Good morning to you, brother. And like Mo be on fire with these. I don't know how Mo find these type of topics, but he find them, and hey, he helping out. So here we go. Here goes another one that we got. So Micheal Vick thinks that Tua needs to bulk up to avoid hits. Do you agree with him, Will, or disagree with Micheal Vick?
I agree with Micheal Vick. He needs to bulk up to be able to take hits. He also need to get the ball out of his hand a little bit faster. But I do agree that he should bulk up a little bit. Because he's a small dude by football standards. So yeah, I do agree that he needs to bulk up to avoid taking hits. Also, get rid of the ball a little bit quicker than what you've been doing.
Mo? Mike?
I don't know if bulking up is going to make a difference with him getting knocked out. I mean, he's taken so many shots that you can still get knocked out with muscles. I'm not sure that's going to change anything. So to me, I'll go with the latter part of what Will said. He's got to make quicker decisions and get rid of the ball more. Just make quicker decisions. And the best thing for Tua is if they're able to feature the run game more. We know what you can do with Hill and Waddle, but if you can feature the run game more, that would be Tua's best friend.
Gotcha. And also help him on some design rollouts, some screens. Also help him within the offense to get rid of that ball at a faster pace.
All right. So we got another one on an article yesterday from NBA Central. Shout out to him. 1 million followers on Twitter. Wow. The Knicks rejected a potential trade with Paul George. That would have sent Paul George to Knicks. They did not want to give him a contract extension. Mo, what you think about that?
So this was the trade is a potential trade.
Yeah, they rejected it. The Knicks rejected it.
Was Paul George aware of the trade potential or whatever? Because they said they didn't want to give him an extension, or was this just management to management? Because I can understand the Knicks being hesitant about the money, especially at this stage of his career. What is Paul George, 32?
Yep.
With a vast injury history. Talent-wise, though, I will say this. If you're the Knicks and you want to shake things up in the East, you get rid of Julius Randle and you bring in Paul George. If you're worried about salary, get rid of Julius Randle's salary. Not to me, that's actually a double. Because if you get rid of Julius Randle's salary and Julius Randle, that's the anchor around the franchise's neck. You're better by default just getting rid of Julius Randle. But if you can add Paul George to that mix with Josh Hart, with Brunson, with Quickly, they just added DiVincenzo. So they've got wing and depth all across the board, and you still have RJ Barrett developing and coming up. The only thing you need to do is get rid of Julius Randle. I think the Knicks should have done something big. I think they should have went for Paul George. The Knicks seem to make they always make the moves they shouldn't make. They bring in Penny Hardaway when Penny Hardaway was way past his prime. They brought in McGrady when he was way past his prime. They brought in Stevie Franchise when he was way past his prime. Like, they never bring somebody in that can still help them. Look, Paul George isn't at his peak, but nobody can tell me that Paul George isn't better than Julius Randle.
Yep. Will?
I wouldn't have signed him all that money either, just because of his injury history. And it's going to be interesting because the Clippers going to have to make a decision soon too between him and Kawhi at some point. So, yeah, I would not have signed him any more money because again, at this age of his career, and his injury history, and when he gets hurt, it's somewhere normally in between the beginning and the middle of the season. And that's a bad time to get hurt if you get hurt at all. So no, I wouldn't have extended him either.
Gotcha. Pascal Siakam could be traded before the season starts. Pascal Siakam been in trade rumors these last few seasons, so he could be traded soon as the season start. Before the season start, Will, what's a good fit for Pascal Siakam? What's a good fit for him?
Oh man, I want him to go somewhere. I want him to go somewhere that he can actually get his playing time. Because he's a hell of a player. Want to put him on a contender. I don't know if the money would match up right, but I was gonna say Phoenix, but nah, they already got a log jam at the 3. I'd love to see him on the Kings. I don't know if they could pull it off, but I would love to see him on the Kings.
Put him beside Sabonis, that could work.
With Fox, Sabonis, I'd love to see him on the Kings.
No mercy, just hit up what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I just can't see. It's just a money thing for me. That's the only thing. And I think Miami too is leaning a little bit too hard on trying to trade Tyler Hero, because not everybody's gonna see him the same in terms of a trade. Not everybody's gonna see him the same. Yeah, he got that dog, but not every team's gonna see him as a key piece to a championship, because he's got a little bit of an injury history too.
Go ahead, Mo.
I like Siakam in Miami.
He can play anybody play in Miami. Yep.
He can play the 4. He can play small ball 5. That's why he's versatile. He can play the 4. He can actually play 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
So I like him on Miami. I like him in Phoenix. Guess what? You can get off the money. You can trade him at 8 and probably straight up. You can put Siakam at 5, even though he's not known as a great defender. He's a capable defender, and he's an upgrade from Ayton from the jump. Whatever you think of what Ayton could be, Siakam is a better player. If Phoenix is a team that's going all in and they're built to win now, go get Siakam. Go get Siakam.
I'm with Freddie, and I hate to admit that. What's up, Fred? I hate to admit that, but he's got, because Miami go get rid. They won't get rid of Bam. Bam is a fixture there. He's not going anywhere. Buckets ain't going nowhere. So I just think Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, is that enough?
I don't know. What I'll say to anybody in the chat, I don't know the details of any deal that Miami's putting together, but I've learned a long time, trust in Pat Riley.
Yep.
Trust in Pat Riley.
Hey, go ahead, Will.
But I just don't. But again, it's just player for player, straight up. I just can't see, being Miami, in that spot, your best 2 players. Butler's not going anywhere. And again, Bam ain't going nowhere. I don't know who looks at Tyler Hero like that anymore. And some picks. Well, if they're a successful team, they're going to be in the bottom rung of picks. So I don't know. That's
right. But if you're Toronto, Will, and you're about to start rebuilding to some degree, a small rebuild, if you will, why not? Those picks might not help you right now, but if you get picks later on down the road, 2029 or 2030 or something like that, they'll have value. So I think if you can get Hero and some picks, that's a good trade-off. That's a good trade-off. You're not built to win now. And Hero, I don't think we've seen the best version of Hero. I actually think that he's still an ascending player. So he might not be a superstar, but he's a very good player. So it's not like you're getting nothing in return, not to mention the picks. And look, a lot of franchises value picks more than players.
That's true.
If I'm Toronto, you have to at least consider that option, because right now you're in purgatory. You're not good enough to get a super high draft, or bad enough to get a super high draft pick, and you're not good enough to be considered a playoff contender.
Right.
Yep.
And I like Hero. He got that dog in him. I just question if teams look at him the same between him not playing in the championship series this year due to injury. How are teams gonna look at him?
Hey, Freddie, just like you want everybody with the Lakers, why the Miami Heat can't get everybody? Just like you want everybody with the Los Angeles, Freddie want everybody with the Los Angeles Lakers. He the first
Freddie
one.
want everybody.
Why the
He
Miami
want
Heat can't
everybody.
get everybody? Miami Heat
Freddie
trying
want
to
everybody.
get better. Y'all trying to get better. But hey, Miami got some pretty good pieces though. Miami got some guys over there that could be intriguing. I mean, Jaime Hotcast. If y'all haven't looked at him in the summer league, goddamn, y'all better go. I'm gonna be doing them tonight. But
He's catching
God,
bodies.
that dude is good, bro. Jaime Hotcast, Jovic, Nikolai Jovic is really good. That's some asset you can use if you want to win now. If you want to try to win now, those are some two couple of guys that you definitely use, man. But other than that, say Christian Wood to the Lakers. No, he want everybody. He want everybody. So
hey, you bring Kevin Love back?
Yeah, they brought him back.
Hey, I'll bring Kevin Love back.
Yeah, they brought him back. He signed to a 2-year deal.
Good. Bring him back.
So we got Boston. Boston still expected to offer Jaylen Brown super max. Mo, should they offer him the super max? Do you think he deserved a super max? They expecting to offer him that. They expected to offer him that.
He's an all NBA player. He's in his 20s. He's still ascending. I put it this way. You've got to overpay in today's NBA. I mean, you just saw free agency. They're overpaying for guys that I would call good players. I'll never say nobody's horrible, but they're giving guys that are good players, fourth options on great teams, making $160 million. So in today's NBA, yes, they're going to offer him the max. You do what you can to keep your stars. So I suspect Jaylen Brown will be signing that contract. He will get $300 million. The scary part for Celtics fan is next year, Tatum will be up. And he's getting even more than what Brown is getting. And once that happens, I don't know how you build out your roster when you've got two guys taking up that much of your cap. Just saying.
Yep. I was just saying, Freddie, they can't get everybody. The Lakers cannot get everybody. They cannot get everybody. I wasn't talking about no damn Dame and no Siakam. The Lakers can't get everybody. If the Lakers can get everybody, why can the Heat get everybody? Yeah, they can get them. They can get everybody too. But Tyler Hero, the Portland Trail Blazers are not impressed with Tyler Hero, so that means they don't want him in a trade. That's the pack. That was the package that I think Miami tried to offer with Tyler Hero, but the Blazers were not interested in Tyler Hero.
That's my thing. Not everybody's gonna look at Hero like that.
I think you have to get a third team involved, right? Yeah. I mean, because you're looking at where both teams are. Portland is looking at basically a rebuild to some degree.
Right.
You're going to go with that young guard and see how they develop and what they can become in 2 to 3 seasons. The other team that gets Hero, look, if you're a young team, if you're an up and coming young team, look at Detroit, look at some of these other places. There are landing spots for Tyler Hero. I guess the question is everybody's looking at that's all you get back for Dame Lillard. And what I'm saying is you're going to have to put together a package that maybe features Hero, but you got to have picks. You got to have some number ones in there. You have to do something to entice Portland's GM. Remember, this guy is an interim GM. He's trying to keep that job and become the permanent GM. So he's not going to make just any kind of deal that's going to make Damian Lillard happy. He's got to make a deal that makes the franchise and the fan base happy as well. Because remember, Dame's beloved there. Whoever comes in, whether it's picks or players or both, it needs to be something that makes season ticket holder go, okay, at least we got some hope going forward when you look at the future. And they've got good pieces. I like Simons. I like Shaedon Sharpe. They've got a lot of talented young players, but they're going to need some time to develop. And they just got Scoot. So to me, if you're a Blazers fan, losing Dame might sting, but the future to me is pretty bright if you're a Portland fan.
Let me ask you this, Mo. Let me ask you this. Would Utah be a good third team?
It seems like in almost every trade, Utah is the third team. Like, I don't know why. You know what, though? I'm going to tell you what. I wasn't a fan of his as a player because I was taught to just hate the guy. Danny Ainge is a hell of a businessman.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a GM. Like Danny Ainge, look, that man, he's got a little Pat Riley in him. So I'll say this: Danny Ainge will make any move that he thinks ultimately will benefit the Utah Jazz. And they have a young core. So to me, Tyler Hero would actually fit with the young core.
He would fit with the Jazz. He would.
Right. He would fit well with the young core. They just got
Marketing
Collins.
together?
They got Markinson. Right. So I like that move. It's just a matter of seeing if you can get them involved into that trade, because I think the only way Dame gets moved, it's going to be a third team involved.
Yep. Speaking of someone that should be thrown in jail for robbery, Danny Ainge should be one of those. He's good at fleecing people. He's really good at pulling off fleecing people and getting a team back on point. Boston was in a bad shape with the moment that Kevin Garnett them left, but he knew what he was doing. He knew that team was breaking down. He knew they were slowing down. So you know what he did? He called up Brooklyn. Said, who give me some first round picks. Give me some first round picks. You trying to win now. Brooklyn at that stage already had a Darren Williams, who was a borderline all-star at that time. So they wanted to bulk up and be a part of the playoff picture. So you know what he got back? He got all those first round picks back. He rarely got players. He got those picks back, and they turned into Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. And guess what? He goes to Utah. He fleeces Minnesota. He gets Minnesota to give up 4 first rounders for Rudy Gobert. That's crazy, bro. So speaking of person that should be in jail, no.
I know I have nothing to do with that franchise, but we all knew. As you saw it come across the screen. As it came across the screen, come on, the first thing in your mind was worst trade ever. Worst trade ever.
Why value Gobert in this day and age of the NBA, with the way everything is open spaced? Why?
I would value him if he played defense. If you have I'm talking about a great big. I'm talking about a big who can protect the rim, but was agile and quick enough to play in space. If he was Akeem Olajuwon, then the 4 picks, that's a steal.
That would work, yeah.
But he's Rudy Gobert.
Right.
And I didn't understand. And you had history. Just look at his resume. The history never changed. The Jazz were great in the regular season. They get in the playoffs. Teams go small and they get busted up. And the first thing everybody did was they highlighted isolating Rudy Gobert and eating him alive.
Gobert is obsolete in today's game. He's obsolete. He can't. He's not a great. He has no jump shot, no back to the basket, no nothing. Look, he can protect the rim on the defensive end. He's such a huge liability on the offensive.
And he doesn't make you pay. He don't make you pay for going small. Yep. Like if you got a great center that if somebody goes small, that center can make you pay by dropping 30. That's different. Rudy Gobert doesn't make you pay for going small.
Nope.
Yep. And he can't cover nobody on the perimeter. No. He's great as a defender inside the paint. If you're inside the paint, he'll get you all day. He'll win that battle all day. But outside of the paint, that's why the Rockets were able to beat him twice. You got PJ Tucker in that small ball lineup, and he don't want to come out to the 3. That's why the Clippers got him. How do you think Terrence Mann had the game that he had? Had the game that he had. Because Rudy Gobert was spread it out. And it couldn't, like Mo said, it couldn't beat Keem Olajuwon because he can actually do everything. He just didn't take too many threes. Right. He can shoot them. He can shoot the mid-range. He can shoot them. He just didn't take too many of those. And like I say again, again, love it. Love it. But Rudy Gobert becomes a liability in a playoffs because teams able to spread him out to the 3-point line. He does not even attempt to go out there. So got an interesting one. I can't wait to get y'all thoughts on this one. 3-on-3 basketball. Who you guys got? Mo, it'll be interesting. Here you go the names. Michael Jordan, KD, and Olajuwon on the same team. Michael Jordan, KD, and Olajuwon is on the same team. You got Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq. You got Magic, Pippen, and Kareem. Mo, who you're taking?
You said the second team was Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq?
Yeah, the second team. Yeah, the second team was Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq. The third team was Magic, Pippen, and Kareem. The first team was Jordan, KD, and Hakeem Olajuwon.
All right, so I'm gonna. Those are tough squads. Whoever put that together, that good looking out. That's a tough one. All right, so 3-on-3. You got to be able to get stops. People can get buckets, but you got to be able to get a stop here and there. I'm gonna go with Olajuwon and Jordan. I'm gonna trust in them. KD's not a great defender, but he's long, and you're not playing full court. You're checking it up at the top of the key, so it's half court. I think KD can hold his own, so I'm gonna go with that. Jordan and Olajuwon can lock down, and they can get buckets. KD will survive.
Yep. Will?
I agree. I got Jordan, KD, and King. When you look at it, they can pretty much. It is half court.
Yeah, but
all three of those guys can pretty much score from anywhere. And Jordan and the King is going to play defense on their end. KD is long. He can be at least he can at least get in someone's way with his length and make it challenging to try to shoot over the top of him. So I gotta go with Jordan, KD, and King.
Hey man, that was a good pick, man. Like I say, speaking of the respect for Olajuwon, I'm gonna bring up one more. Y'all remember the 86 playoffs? That's the year that the Rockets was 41-41. They still made it to the finals.
Yep.
You know what was his first playoff series that year? You know who he played against that year and that he ate up? Y'all can guess if y'all can guess the name.
I know they took out my Lakers.
Yeah, they did.
I
remember that.
Yeah.
Him and Ralph Sampson, they wore Kareem out, man. Look, I saw it. I
thought to do that. Yep.
And that was before Olajuwon was as skilled as he got later on. He was raw and he was dominant when he was raw. But every time Kareem would get by one of them, somebody else was blocking his shot. Like they just wore the guy out.
I ain't heard that name in a minute.
That Rockets team. That Rockets team, when they got to the finals, I didn't think they could beat Boston. But man, just the fact that they got there, they were young and raw, and they made it to a finals. That was impressive.
That was impressive. So
I've not heard that name in a long time.
hey, Chris, you read my mind exactly.
Yeah, told you. Keep telling people, Olajuwon was a beast, man. Olajuwon was a skilled big man. That dude did literally everything, and he can guard perimeter guys. He could guard perimeter guys.
The man made David Robinson look like an idiot most of the time. And David Robinson was a very good center. Very good center.
Don't sell him short. He ate up David Robinson, but don't forget, they got tired of seeing that. They switched Dennis Rodman on him. then he ate Dennis Rodman alive. Yep. They put David Robinson back.
They put him right back on him to get. They put him right back on him again.
Yep.
That was it. That was David Robinson MVP year at that. That was his
at that time.
Yeah, at that time. Yep. So, what was the most haunted moment you ever saw in sports, Mo? What was the most haunted moment you ever saw in sports?
So, I have two. So, in basketball, you kind of brought it up. So, you know that the Rockets upset the Lakers. I think they beat them in 5. And the game that ended the series, the Lakers were up 1. The Rockets were inbounding the ball. There were like 2 seconds left. They throw the ball in, and Ralph Sampson just has time to tip the ball towards the basket, and it goes in. And they won the game in the end of the series. And as it happens, you can see Michael Cooper just collapse into the ground. What you couldn't see was young Mo was collapsing to the ground too. I was going to the ground too.
You said young Mo.
I didn't come outside the rest of the week. I was sick.
Go outside and play.
That one stung. That hurt a lot.
Play for a week.
I collapsed right along with Coop. The second one is the I believe it's the 1990 NFC championship game, NFC title game. The Niners and Giants. We got the game won. We stopped them. We got the game won. They only have one timeout. We hand the ball off to Roger Craig, who I love, and Roger Craig fumbles the ball. The Giants recover. They go on to kick the game-winning field goal.
Yep.
And I didn't speak Roger Craig's name for years.
Yeah.
I was when you and look, everybody felt the same way because it wasn't a coincidence. The next year, Roger Craig was on the Raiders. I'm just saying.
That is true. That is true.
I was very hot at Roger Craig.
Go ahead, Will.
My Saints championship game, that onside kick that Sean Payton called, That was brilliant. That was just brilliant to me. Against the Colts, that was just brilliant to me. And that pretty much changed the game. And the Saints went on the championship. The other one, my second one, Bo Jackson's injury. That was just so disappointing to me. So disappointing. That man was. You can't tell me that man was on his way to greatness.
Gotcha.
You can't tell me that he wasn't.
So I'm gonna go to this one. I got you. You won't believe. I mean, pretty much people know this. People know this matchup, and I don't know if people notice this, but I noticed this until this day. And jury, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, jury. I'm gonna bring it up. The New England Patriots beating the Titans 59-0. 59-0. The Tennessee Titans was going into Foxborough 0-5. They came out 0-6, 59-0.
Got lit up.
Got lit up. But when I read you the stats,
them boys got lit up.
It ain't nice. Tennessee, 9 first downs. New England, 32 first downs. First down rushing. Tennessee, 6. New England, 9. Third down efficiency, 5 for 11 for New England. 2 for 10 for Tennessee. The plays 77-50, but the passing yards. Y'all know what the passing yards was? -7 for Tennessee. -7 for Tennessee. -7 for Tennessee. So 426 for the Patriots. Completion. Tennessee 2 of 14. Patriots 38 for 40, 38 for 40, 38 for 45. -5 yards per pass. -5 yards per pass for Tennessee. 2 interceptions. 193 yards. They were tied up. So the only thing they really could do was run the ball, pretty much. 5 turnovers for Tennessee. 5 turnovers. You had 3 lost fumbles, two interceptions. 2 interceptions in that game for Tennessee. Guess what? Vince Young. Y'all remember Vince Young?
Remember me? Yep.
College quarterbacks of all time. Mo, you remember that guy, huh? For the one that beat USC.
Killed FC. He killed FC. He beat us late.
All right. 0 for 2 in passing. 1 interception. Kerry Collins, 2 for 12. The -7 yards.
I expect
in an interception. Chris Johnson was the only one that showed up in the game. 17 carries for 128 yards. So the rushing game was the only thing they could do. Throughout the whole game. That had to be the most embarrassing game to even watch. Tom Brady, of course, he had 6 touchdowns. He led him up for 6 touchdowns. 380 yards. Lawrence Maroney. I haven't seen. I remember that name. I haven't seen him in a while. He had 123 yards. You remember Wes Welcome? Oh, you remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
10 catches, 150 yards. You had 2 touchdowns. You remember Randy Moss? Will and Mo? Y'all remember that guy? 8 catches, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns. You remember Kevin Falk?
Yep.
There we go. 3 for 54 and a touchdown. How about that young Julian Edelman? Mo and Will, y'all do definitely remember him, huh?
Remember him?
He also had 3 for 40, 6 for 43. So that game was the most embarrassing game that I ever watched. That had to be some of the worst football by Vince Young and Kerry Collins they played. It got so bad. You know who got in the game at that point of time? Brian Hoyer. That's how bad the game got. And you know how much, he had 9 for 11 for 52 yards. That was like 7-on-7 football. That's damn near like 7-on-7 football. You went out there and played. So other than that, that was crazy. That was a crazy game.
to the woodshed.
Embarrassing. That was embarrassing by Tennessee.
Took him to the woodshed.
You ain't lying. So, Mo, who would you take in 2015? Who you got? Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Brandon Marshall, or Odell Beckham? Who you taking?
This is a tough one because what I remember that year, I believe that was the year where Odell makes that video game catch, right? He makes that video game catch.
Yeah.
And a lot of people act like the video game catch was like the end of the season. What I do remember is Julio Jones. I think Julio Jones and AB basically had the same season. I think they both had over 130 catches, 1,800 yards. But out of the three, I think out of the four, only Brandon Marshall and AB had winning records. So I'm going to go with AB because I think the Steelers still made the playoffs. So I'm going to go with AB because AB was insane that year. 136 catches, over 1,800 yards, maybe 10 or 11 touchdowns. Like AB was that close to cracking the 2,000-yard mark. So was Julio Jones. But I'm just saying AB did it on a winning team. I think the Falcons were either 500 or below, but they weren't a very good team. So I'm going to go with AB.
Yep. That was a good one. It said Undertaker. Chris said Undertaker. Street.
That was shocking.
That was crazy. Versus
and all the reason why that happened, is because Edge didn't want to do it. Because they went to Edge and asked Edge if he would go ahead and do that. Edge said no. So that's the only reason why that happened.
Got you.
I remember that.
Yeah, Will is a wrestling guy. He is a wrestling guy, so he would know that. So, Monty Rivera blowing the game in Game 7 versus the Diamondbacks.
Okay. Yeah, because look, Chris knows it's very rare. It's more exception than rule that Mo blows a game. He doesn't. But he did that time. You're right. That was big. Game 7 too. Yeah. That's a good one, Chris.
You lying. Who you got, Will? Out of those wide receivers, who you have? Who are you taking?
I like Julio Jones, but I gotta go with Antonio Brown. That season that he had was an amazing season. I believe that team did make the playoffs. That was the year of that one-handed catch by OBJ. Great catch, but I just think that year, AB was just amazing. You saw everything on display. You saw his route running. You saw the speed he had. Just a tremendous receiver. I like Julio, don't get me wrong, but I gotta go with AB.
Got you. Oh, Mo, y'all got another impression on Mo. Y'all said after who tipped that ball in? Keem Olajuwon or Ralph Sampson? Who tipped that ball in?
That was
Ralph Sampson.
Yeah. he said he fell along with him, huh? You fell along with him.
No mercy sports. LA Knight will become a success. I think the reason why he didn't win Money in the Bank because they want to push Damian. But I do think LA Knight will be going up against Austin Theory later on down the line for that title. But LA Knight is he's incredibly over for a heel. Just incredibly over for a heel. And he will win a championship at some point. It might be only a short run, maybe a 6-month run, because him and Damian are two of the oldest guys on that roster, but he will be a champion for a short run in WWE.
Yep. Hey, Fred, let's get Will on a wrestling show. All right, this is the last topic before we get in Mo's. Get on Mo's segment. So, which college quarterback are you taking, Will? In their prime, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, or Stetson Bennett?
I ain't messing with Stetson Bennett. I think that's a fraud in the making right there. That's a fraud in the making. I've never been a bit Baker Mayfield fan. I got to give Trevor his due. He's coming along in Jacksonville. But now I gotta go with Justin Fields. I gotta go with Fields. He's so athletic. He was so athletic on the field. Made the right decision. Granted, it wasn't a pro style offense he was in, but in his prime, incredible quarterback. And if the Bears can get that man some help, and there seem to be accumulating that talent at the receiver spot, I think he's got one hell of a bright future.
Go ahead, Mo.
And so we're talking about their prime in college, right?
Yeah, prime in college, yes,
right,
sir.
In college.
I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence. The pretty boy, Trevor Lawrence is a bad man.
Sunshine.
Yeah, I'll take Sunshine. Sunshine's a bad man. Athletic enough to move out of the pocket. He's got wheels, arm strength, arm talent, can recognize coverages already at a young age. He can recognize coverages and make adjustments, maybe because they were playing that pro style offense. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence is effective at every level. He can make reads. He can change out of plays. He can call. I just love him as a football player. He hasn't gotten to the level that I expected he would get as fast as I thought he would get in the pros, but give him some time. I think when it's all said and done, Trevor Lawrence will be a top 5 quarterback.
Got you. I gotta take Justin Fields. I
just think the potential that Justin has is just sick.
Love Justin Fields.
Yep. All right. So last but not least, before we end the show, Mo, go ahead. Talk about him. Go ahead.
So this is just off of what I know.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, one of the all-time great fighters in boxing history. De La Hoya had over 234 amateur wins. God, 163 of those were by knockouts. Of his losses, 2 of them came to Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley seemed to always give him a problem coming up. He was the only member of the 92 Olympic boxing team that won gold. He won his first championship in his 12th fight at the age of 20.
Dang.
That's how talented he was.
That's amazing.
I think Oscar De La Hoya is one of the great big fight fighters. Go back and look at his fights against Pernell Whitaker. Look at how he destroyed Julio Cesar Chavez.
That was a massacre.
Not once, but twice. He stopped him in the 4th round, their first fight. Chavez complained, demanded a rematch. In the second fight, he knocked him out in the 8th round. Oscar De La Hoya is the perfect blend of speed and power. And what makes him unique is this. His lead hand, this is what you jab off of, that's his strong hand. That's not how you're taught. He was taught to box an unorthodox style. So think about that. His strong hand is his jab hand. So it made his jab not just quick, not just effective, but it had power in it. He could sting you with that jab. It was the strength of everything he did. Oscar De La Hoya controlled the pace of every fight he won off the strength of that jab. And because he's a natural lefty, it was easy to transition from jab to overhand left hook, which was one of his best punches. He's best known for combinations. And when I mean by combinations, a lot of good fighters, the very best fighters, can put together 4 and 5 punch combinations. Oscar De La Hoya could put together 10 and 12 punch combinations. He does this thing that a lot of young fighters, they're not good at. It's called not admiring your work. That means getting in and getting out. He was one of the great defensive fighters in the history of boxing. So when you look at an Oscar De La Hoya fight, you know what? If you're a fan of boxing, go look at De La Hoya versus Ike Corte.
Yeah, that first fight was a hell of a boxing.
That is a master class by both of them in the art of boxing. Go and look at that. Now, he's had controversial fights. The fight against Tito Trinidad, he dominated Trinidad, dominated the fight, landed 100 more punches, but he lost the fight because the last few rounds, his corner told him back off because they was fearing Tito's power. He lost and gave away those rounds and actually lost that fight. I still thought he should have won. But the referees awarded the fight to Tito because they felt like he was the aggressor. I agree he was the aggressor, but he was also the one eating all the leather. He lost twice to Mosley again. Shane Mosley was one of the few people who could figure him out. If you look at his losses in his pro career, it was against people who had equal hand speed and the ability to take away his jab. Floyd Mayweather was even quicker, more elusive than Oscar De La Hoya. He didn't have an answer for him. Even though he beat Pernell Whitaker, that was a close decision that could have gone either way. Because I thought Pernell outboxed him, but De La Hoya landed a lot of power shots. Oscar De La Hoya, as a fighter, when you talk about a fighter, his greatest asset was his ability to adjust and change styles inside the ring in the middle of a fight. He's one of the 40 greatest fighters in the history of the game. He is an 11-time champion at 6 different weight classes. And he's a 3-time champion as a lineal champion. If you want to know what lineal means, if you know boxing's got like 750 belts.
Yep.
But when you're the lineal champion, it means that you own all 3 of the belts or all the major belts of that weight class.
Yeah.
He did that 3 times. Oscar De La Hoya, one of the greatest fighters in the history of boxing, the Golden Boy.
Great breakdown. Great breakdown. Love it. Hell of a breakdown, Mo. Ready to go. Mo's boxing segment. Tomorrow we get another one. Mo, you pick any fighter that you talk about, and tomorrow you pick any fighter that you want to discuss. So
hey, I also want to address McCain in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna get
I did want to address that real quick. Here's my thing with Priest. Priest is older than Knight. So for people to say LA Knight didn't win it because of his age is ignorant. Because Priest is older. So you got both guys who are really who are over and trending up. You could take either Priest out and put him on his own as a face, or they can take Finn Balor out and have Priest and Balor go at it. But they like Priest a lot, and I get why. But he's older than LA Knight. So, and I used to think that way myself until I actually looked at how old Priest was. So to say that the reason why LA Knight didn't win it was because of his age, that's not true. And again, I do believe you will see him go up, get the U.S. title, and eventually will compete for the world title. Because LA Knight's just over. He's just amazingly over. I've never seen a heel in all my time in wrestling. I mean, you had some faces come in a heel role, but they're already over as a face. LA Knight started as a face, remains a face, and is still a heel rather, and is still over as a heel. So shout out to LA Knight. He gonna make somebody pay. Don't worry.
Hey, well, I'm not the wrestling aficionado that you are, William. I did watch wrestling when I was coming up. I think everybody did at some point.
Yeah, I did.
Matter of fact, I'm from a military family, so we moved around all over the country. I remember being in Lawton, Oklahoma, and we was on the base Fort Sill. It was in Fort Sill, and we was watching wrestling as kids when they called it wrestling, when it was wrestling. And it was I think it was called Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I'm gonna throw out some names, William. You'll probably know them: Tommy Wildfire Rich and Dick Murdoch, Harley Race, JYD, Butch Reed, those kind of dudes. Like I remember the Four Horsemen and all those kind of dudes. Roddy Piper was there. Like I remember all that stuff. That's when I really followed wrestling. I think I got into it again a little bit later during the Attitude Era, because I think that was my funnest time watching wrestling. The Attitude Era. The Attitude Era actually brought me back to watching wrestling.
Man.
It brought a lot of folks back. And right now, LA Knight and the Bloodline to me are really the only 2 reasons to watch WWE these days. AEW is over there killing it. Impact is doing their thing.
Hey, Will, quick question. Will the Bloodline turn on Finn Balor?
Finn they're gonna turn. I believe they're gonna turn on Finn, just like they turned on Edge and got rid of Edge. They're gonna turn on Finn.
I think they jumping him out, right?
Yeah, they're gonna jump him out. Yeah, they're gonna jump him out. I think he's the guy to go.
Got you, man. Fellas, it's been a hell of a morning show. I mean, that was a hell of a breakdown about Mo on Pernell Whitaker, Tommy Hearns, Oscar De La Hoya. That was hell of a breakdown. Tomorrow we're gonna have more of that. Mo is gonna choose a boxer and he's gonna break it down. So we got some hell of a boxing matches coming up too. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence coming up. You also have David Benavidez getting ready to fight. You got Canelo versus Jamel fight coming up soon. You have Ryan Garcia wanting to fight Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero is underrated as hell. Underrated boxers. Overrated, not underrated. He's very overrated. Right. But other than that, man, Mo, tell the people how they can follow you, man.
Right here in the Empire Sports Empire Network. I will see you guys tomorrow on Coffee and Sports in the Morning.
Got you. Will.
Head on over to the Geek Gauntlet page on Facebook. You can catch me over there every Saturday night at 10 p.m. You can also head over to the Sports Report page on Facebook. We do 2 shows. Monday, we do our main show at 10 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, we do Sports Report Fight Night. We go over combat sports, primarily pro wrestling, but we do some MMA, and that's on Tuesdays at 10. I'm back here on Wednesday mornings, 9 p.m. Eastern. I also got another show going on right now, From the Sidelines, Player versus Team. That's every Thursday at a little after 9 p.m. And then, of course, my main show, the Geek Gauntlet podcast, every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Definitely check me out there.
Yeah, man, y'all gonna find me all over the place. Y'all gonna find me at 12 o'clock my time. Me and my boy Aaron will break down baseball. We will break down the game of baseball. Y'all gonna find me doing a summer league game. Charlotte, the Charlotte game versus Charlotte game later on. Y'all also will find me doing the nightcap. Sacramento versus Miami. Y'all will see me later tonight doing some summer league. Summer league is heating up. These rookies had a great impression the other day, and y'all come out and check them out tonight. Summer league is where it starts, man. So other than that, these players are having fun. These players, they already dunking on people and all that. The athleticism is crazy.
Dunk on you.
Yeah. So as for your boy Coach Dante, as for Mo, again, hell of a boxing segment right there. Breakdown on Oscar De La Hoya. We will have more of that tomorrow. Shout out to Will. Shout out to everybody that came through, man. So other than that, y'all have a good rest of your morning. This is the edition of Coffee and Sports in the Morning. We'll be back tomorrow with another one. And y'all check out the baseball podcast coming up at 12 o'clock my time. So as for Coach Dante, Mo, and Will, see y'all at 12 o'clock, man. Thank you, guys.